Hi, my name is Bruce Moulton. I'm a partner at Texas Scientific Products, and today we're going to present to the Sierra 6 group a presentation that shows our OptiSolids XL nebulizer and also covers our Malic 3 product that we've recently come out with. Most of you know Texas Scientific, but some of you do not. And for those who do not, here's a little bit of background on us. We were established in 2004. We focus primarily on ICP mass spec products. We also get into XRF and GC and other types of instrumentation consumables. We are located in Argyle, Texas. That's where our headquarters is. Argyle is located just a little bit north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We also have a production area that's in Cedar Ridge, Colorado. That's where we do our glass design and our production for all of our glass. So Devens, Massachusetts is our East Coast office. And together we have 3 partners, 3 sales and logistics people. We've got 5 design and manufacturing people. We've got 2 general and administrative people. So altogether, we have about 13 employees at this point. Sergey Lakin, whom many of you know, many of you have already talked to on the phone. Sergey is a partner and co-founder, and he handles most of our product and business development. I, as a co-founder and partner, handle the majority of the marketing and operational functions. And Doug Keene, who is a co-founder and partner, handles our international sales as well as our trade shows and interacts with distributors. So together the 3 of us have about 75 years of experience collectively in ICP mass spec, and XRF. So we have a pretty fair perspective in the types of challenges that you'll run across running the equipment. So over the years, TSP has designed 3 nebulizers. We design and manufacture these. The OptiMist, which is a non-concentric nebulizer, has a sample channel around 0.5 millimeters in diameter and is an ideal nebulizer for doing a soil application. I mentioned non-concentric nebulizer because it's important to understand the difference between a a concentric nebulizer and a non-concentric nebulizer. With a concentric nebulizer, you'll have a tube inside of a tube inside the body of the nebulizer, and the sample and the gas are mixed inside the body of the nebulizer before it comes out the tip. With our non-concentric design, the gas and sample paths are exclusive of each other all the way through the body of the nebulizer, and the aerosol is actually not created until the very tip of the nebulizer. So it's called an external aspiration. The OptiSolids XL, which is what we're going to talk about today, is also a non-concentric nebulizer. It has a larger sample channel. It's got a 1 millimeter to 2 millimeter ID, and that makes it ideal for doing not only soils but also some of the other samples that you have in the laboratory, like plant tissue. Basically samples with very large particulates, greater than 1 millimeter, and maybe 30% TDS. So the third nebulizer that we've manufactured, which is called the E2MLN, is a modified Liechti nebulizer, and the modified Liechti nebulizer has been on the market for several years, a couple decades anyways. And what we've done over the last couple years is we've made some modifications to the design so that it has basically better efficiency, better sensitivity than the originally designed modified Lichty nebulizer. So this unit, the E2MLN, is really ideal for doing relatively clean samples, like environmental waters and other types of relatively clean samples. So let's take a look at the OptiSolids XL a little bit more closely. We have here an image of the OptiSolids nebulizer, and you'll notice that you've got where the sample comes in and enters the nebulizer, this blue channel that runs up here and out the top of the nebulizer, that is for the sample. And then you'll see the green channel is where the gas, the argon gas, comes through. So as you can see, these two tubes coming through the nebulizers are completely separated from each other until you get to the very tip of the nebulizer. So what this allows is, because the system is very forgiving in its nature, you can analyze both soil and plant tissue with it without having to change the nebulizer in between those sample types. It's virtually uncloggable, and how we know that it's virtually uncloggable, other than experience, is the capillary tube that is generally goes between the nebulizer and the sample probe that goes into the sample is usually around 0.75 millimeters in ID, maybe 0.5 millimeters ID. And the ID of this sample channel here is 1 millimeter or greater in some cases. So if a sample has particulates and those particulates get through the capillary tubing, basically anything that gets through the capillary tubing is going to get through the sample channel. So we basically don't expect this to clog anytime soon for anybody. It's a relatively inexpensive option. Nebulizers, there's a great range of prices for them, but this nebulizer will run anywhere from about $550 to about $600, depending on which ICP it's going into, because we also supply with it the necessary adapters for whichever ICP. So whether it's a PerkinElmer, a Thermo, an Agilent, a Spectro, we supply the adapters, and so that price is basically going to be between $550 and $600. It has an extended life, and this nebulizer style, we've had several customers who used to go through cross-flow nebulizers every 3 to 4 months when they're doing their agronomy samples. And this gets expensive when those cross-flow nebulizers run about $1,000 a piece, and you're buying them every 3 or 4 months. So we had one of our customers evaluated the OptiSolids, and actually once they put the OptiSolids on their ICP, they find that they've been running for about 2 years with the same nebulizer. They haven't had to replace it. So the durability of this nebulizer is exceptional. The long-term stability is excellent as well. We've got some data here that shows a soil check sample being run from about 11:13 in the morning to about 4:45 in the afternoon. We see for all the elements that it ran very stable throughout the course of the day. This is a good indication of it not clogging. And you'll notice that this graph is basically a scale from 1 to 1,000. Basically, it's a logarithmic scale because I wanted to get the full range of concentrations on the same graph. And note that it's in pounds per acre. So we haven't done the calculation back to ppm, but we felt like pounds per acre is more relevant measurement. So when we look at the plant proficiency for the OptiSolids XL, we've got 5 elements on the screen, and basically one of our customers ran the OptiSolids for a North American proficiency testing program study. And this essentially establishes the results that they achieved. So the blue bars are the range of expected results, and the red bar is what we actually achieved using the OptiSolids Excel. You can see that the OptiSolids Excel analysis ended up being, right in the middle of those bars, all the way through, basically. So excellent correlation back to that NAPT study. If you want to see the raw data, I have it here. It's nowhere near as interesting as a graph, but the raw data is here if you want to see for all the elements. So when we switch over to the soil proficiency testing sample, we see the same type of result where we've got for the different samples in the testing program, and here's the min and max that we would expect to see, and the results of the OptiSolids is in red, basically right in the middle as expected throughout all of the samples. So these two slides, between the plant proficiency slide and the soil proficiency slide, they speak to the OptiSolids' ability to run as expected and predicted, that you would achieve results in line with your expectations. There's the raw data for the soil analysis slide. So now I'm going to transition to our Mehlich 3 product and take a look at that. So everybody's familiar with Mehlich 3. Everybody manufactures Mehlich 3 largely in their laboratories. It's a process that requires someone to spend a little bit of time to create the Mehlich 3. So we were asked by several of our customers if this is something that we might be able to mass produce and provide them at a comparable cost that it costs them to manufacture the Mehlich 3 themselves. So we came up with several sizes of the Mehlich 3. We got a 4-liter bottle all the way up to a 55-gallon drum, and we can deliver it in any one of those configurations. It comes with an 18-month shelf life, and the recent study that was done by North Carolina shows that all the recoveries are within expected ranges. So we'll look at a little bit of detail, and here we're talking about the traces. So the Mehlich 3, which was made by TSP, shows up in orange in this graph, is compared to the traces measured in the lab manufactured Mehlich 3. And what you see in an ideal situation, you wouldn't see any bars. Everything would be below the instrument's ability to test it. But that's not real life, so you're going to see some. The idea is you want to see the fewer the better, and the smaller the bar the better. So we see a little bit of phos, calcium, sodium, sulfur, iron, and aluminum. But what you'll notice is that the TSP supplied Mehlich 3 was generally had fewer trace concentrations than the lab produced Mehlich 3. The exception is sodium. I think that in some cases we're going to be quite a bit lower. In other cases we might be a little bit higher. But all in all, when you look at the average, it appears that the TSP Mehlich 3 is going to have less traces. Now, this isn't to say that the laboratory folks were making bad Mehlich 3 by any means. This is just a comparison of the two. I think it just speaks to the fact that when you're manufacturing stuff in volume, you have the ability to control your source materials, and ultimately you should end up with something that's a little bit lower in traces. The Mehlich 3 by the long-term stability looks excellent too. So here we measured pH over the course of I guess this was 10 months. So August in 2016, it was reading just a little bit over 2.5. And then again, just this month, June 2017, it was reading just a little bit under 2.55. The point is that it's virtually unchanged. and it falls within the specification for the expected pH. The Mehlich 3 was used as an extractant at North Carolina laboratory, and basically they did the extraction using our Mehlich 3 and the lab produced Mehlich 3. And so for these elements, you'll see the correlation on the analysis between these two, and you'll see that ideally, you would see two bars exactly the same height. But what you're seeing is two bars that are extremely close to each other, which is more practical and more what you would expect out of a test like this. So this is a comparative chart that shows the comparative result that was obtained when TSP Mehlich 3 was used versus the lab supplied Mehlich 3. So in all cases, it's very, very consistent, very tight results compared to each other. On this graph, we're seeing a percent deviation from the target. And in this type of graph, ideally you would see nothing. The line at 0 would be just empty. But in a real life example, you're going to see bars like you do here. So all in all, what we're seeing is that the recovery relative to the expected concentration is in line with expected with expectations. So in some cases, the lab supplied Mehlich 3 was off in the 5 to 10% range, and in some cases ours was. So, but on the whole, very, very comparable. The check data. So this is the results that were obtained on the check sample, and then the warning low and high, and the absolute low and high. Both the TSP Mehlich and the lab supplied Mehlich 3 fell right in line with expectations there. So that's just the data. It's not nearly as nice as a graph, but that's the data that's used. So the conclusion is that the Mehlich 3 by TSP is a valid and viable alternative to making Mehlich 3 in your lab by among your lab personnel. So when you add up all those costs, and we compare that to the cost of buying the Mehlich 3 and shipping it, there's a good chance that you may save a little bit of money by having TSP supply the Mehlich 3. So the summary here: OptiSolids XL is an ideal nebulizer for doing both soil and plant tissues. You do not have to worry about changing out your nebulizer in between these types of samples, so you can just roll right from one to the other. So that's a time saver. Also, the OptiSolids just in general is a relatively low-cost alternative, and it has an exceptional life expectancy. The Mehlich 3 may be a great solution for labs that are pressed for personnel to manufacture the Mehlich 3 during the rush season, and it may be really well suited for laboratories that where it just costs a lot to make that Mehlich 3, or they just don't have the personnel to spend the time making the Mehlich 3. So there's a few people that we want to thank. David Hardy and the folks at NCDA Laboratory, they provided us the Mehlich 3 data, and that was great. We really appreciate their time and energy there. Water Agri Lab out of North Carolina provided us all the proficiency testing data with the OptiSolids XL. So that was exceptional. We really appreciate them supplying that. And then Cirrus 6, just want to say thank you for the opportunity to allow TSP to participate in the meeting. And of course, University of Arkansas, a lot of hard work went into putting together the time and the agenda for these presentations, and we really appreciate that. So thank you, everybody. And with that, we'll conclude our presentation, and I wish all of you to have a fantastic day. Thank you.